We'll have one more question. It will come from Frank Mealy, and the candidates will be given 90 seconds for an answer only. There will be no response. Frank?
Representative Daines, a lot of politicians who benefit from campaign spending say that campaign spending is a major threat to our country. Some Democrats have proposed to amend the First Amendment to give Congress the authority to regulate campaign spending. What is your reaction?
The Supreme Court holds the First Amendment in very high esteem, as they should. They've had several rulings that ensure that First Amendment rights are protected. And as I see what's going on across this country with the IRS has, because of people's political persuasions, has discriminated against them. In fact, you've seen the news in the last 48 hours. Lois Lerner now has lost 2 years' worth of email because her computer crashed. This is one of the challenges we face with big government getting involved in our lives. And that is why we must continue to fight for more jobs and less government on every front, including these regulations that relates to the IRS. I think most Montanans agree there's too much money in politics, but we also need to balance that with protecting the very important rights of free speech and the First Amendment. I would say this, and you're going to hear something probably from John on this as it relates to campaign finance reform and some other issues. Just 3 weeks ago, Tom Steyer, the vocal opponent of the Keystone Pipeline, of coal, of natural resources, a billionaire from San Francisco, holds an event, and then they hold an event for John. It was Joe Biden in Nancy Pelosi's district charging $10,000 to $30,000 a ticket. So I want to hear consistency from John on this issue.
Mr. Roots, an answer?
I think it is a national disgrace that both of Montana's U.S. senators are formally seeking to amend the Constitution to limit the protections of the First Amendment. How many of you knew that government needed even more power? Our 2 sitting U.S. senators, Tester and Walsh, are both seeking to give the government even more power than it has right now over what they call campaign spending, or what I call political speech. The Citizens United case, by the way, who could argue against saying that you can't ban books and videos? The government actually argued in that case that it had the authority to ban books and videos if even a single line in those books or videos called for the election of a candidate. Who could say that that decision is some radical decision where the U.S. Supreme Court, at least the majority, thankfully, it should have been unanimous, said, no, you're not going to ban books in America. We have a First Amendment. Okay, they say that spending is not money is not speech. Folks, regulating and controlling the money and the resources behind speech and flyers and pamphlets is one of the most direct ways of chilling and controlling speech. So these people would control so much about politics. They would have McCarthyite hearings. You would be asked, did you write this pamphlet? Who's your donor? All the founding fathers, by the way, used alias names and pseudonyms because they were afraid of the government when they criticized the government.
Mr. Roots. Mr. Walsh, your answer?
Well, I do support campaign finance reform in this country. I do not believe that corporations are people. I still recall that July 1st of 2004, when over 700 of Montana's finest men and women were lining up to get onto an airplane to go to Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't recall seeing any corporations in line to get on and go with us. So I think that we do need to overturn the Citizens United decision, but you know who doesn't think we should overturn the Citizens United decision? Congressman Steve Daines. I can tell you, from the day that I entered this race, Congressman Daines and his outside friends have been coming into the state of Montana to swift boat my military career, a 33-year military career that I am so proud of, that I took 700 of Montana's finest young men and women into Iraq. I brought men home that fought so hard on behalf of the citizens of this state. So corporations shouldn't be making decisions on behalf of the citizens of Montana.
Okay.